Hello, this is Mike Rogers, attorney here in Cleburne, Texas, just south of Fort Worth. I've been practicing law, criminal law, for over 40 years. So, in any of these videos, you can trust that I'm very experienced with this. I've handled thousands and thousands of criminal cases in my career. So what I tell you on these videos, you can trust that I know what I'm talking about. One of the hot topics right now is immigration. We read, we listen, we see all kinds of things going on about immigration, and I just want to comment a little bit on the process and the procedures. When someone is illegal in the country, that is, they don't have a visa to be here, they're not a citizen, they're not a permanent resident, and they get caught, even by local police officers or sheriff's departments, not necessarily ICE. Then, if that person is taken to jail, what's happening now under the Trump administration is that all of these folks that are taken to the jail normally are given immigration holds, which means they can't bond out of jail. Even if they post a bond on the underlying case, they're being held on an immigration warrant at that point, so they don't get released. So some folks in that situation sit in the county jail for months and months and months before anything even arises about the immigration issue. And some of the charges that people get arrested for these folks are illegal could even be what we call in Texas a Class C misdemeanor, a traffic violation. And a speeding ticket, for example, stop sign. They're taken to jail and they're held there. Normally, a Class C misdemeanor is just a finable case, usually a fine up to $500 with no jail time involved, but yet these people are held for a long period of time until that underlying case has been resolved. Once that underlying case has been resolved, then they are turned over to ICE. And at that time, they're taken to a detention center and they're held there until such time as a decision has been made as to what is going to be their fate. Well, most of the time under the current administration, that means they're going to get deported. But if they've been deported before, then they put into a different classification, and they're sometimes, most often really, required to stay in detention in the United States at one of those facilities for a period of time, could be months, and even prosecuted in the federal court and be given federal prison time for being in the country illegally and being caught more than once. And the more times they get caught and deported and they come back across the border, the more exposure they have for punishment. So what happens when they get deported? Well, they're taken to the border if they're from Mexico, and then they're released there. If they come from other countries, Venezuela, for example, usually they're deported to a different country because of the relationship between Venezuela and the United States. It's not very good now. But all things being equal, they're sent back to their country of origin. Now, what happens after that? Well, they live in that home country and stay there, or there are what's called coyotes that can arrange for that person to get back across the border. And it's expensive for people to do that. The going rate out of Mexico right now is about $12,000 per person. And they require and the cartels are running these operations. The normal way this is done, half of the money is paid up front, and then the other half is paid when they get to the location where friends or family members are going to pick them up. In Texas, it's usually San Antonio. And the other half of the money, the other $6,000, would be paid to the Coyote at that point, and then the person's back in the United States. And I'm sure they do that with the hope that they're not going to be caught again. Well, some of them do get away with it, but there's others that don't. So when you see and hear things about immigration in this country and what's being done with folks that are here illegally, keep in mind there are many facets to all of this story, and it doesn't just necessarily end when that person is being arrested and taken to jail.